Well, it's a tale as old as time. Conway versus Fayetteville in a game that means a whole lot. It really doesn't matter what sport it is, but we're talking football tonight. It's a berth in the state championship game next Saturday at noon at War Memorial Stadium. And tonight, Fayetteville hosts your Conway Wampus Cats, the guys who will be high above Harmon Stadium. Is it Harmon Stadium or Harmon Field? I'll let you guys tell me. It's Harmon Field, right? It's not a stadium.
Field, yeah.
The stadium's a little further up the street. But the guys will be high above it tonight. Calling the game are with me now. It is Levi Gilbert. It's Tim Roach. And guys, we've got this one that's ahead of us, but let's take a look back at Bentonville West. Good performance overall, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, it was a great night for your Wampus Cats. They only got stopped 2 times the whole night. One of them was on a 4th and 1, which was, I'm sure, very frustrating for everybody involved. The other time was just a complete miscommunication between Donovan and a receiver, and it just led to a pick. But other than that, Bentonville West had no hopes of slowing down your Wampus Cats, and that was good because we had really no hopes of slowing them down, at least in the first half. It took till the second half when we started figuring some things out, which was worrisome, but here's the truth. I never felt like we were going to lose, but there were a few times in the first half where I felt like certainly we could lose if we didn't start figuring out how to get some stops. Luckily, we took care of that in the second half, and it was mostly smooth sailing since that point. But this had to have been the longest game we've played all year. I mean, I'm pretty sure every other playoff game in the entire state was done before our game was done.
Yeah, there were 30 penalties, I think, in the ball game, and it felt like there were 45 to 50. It did take us a long time. There were challenges all throughout, offensively, defensively. The thing about it is you don't know what you're going to get after a week off and after getting really kind of knocked around in the second half against the Bryant game. So you ended your period there with a tough loss at home to Bryant. Had some time off to think about it. We came out really quick, but things were difficult after that, but we managed through it. I like the fact that we got punched in the mouth. We were down for the first time all year in the first half, and we came back and beat a really good Bentonville West team.
It's a really good team they're going to face tonight, and it's the Fayetteville Bulldogs. They are led by a Division I quarterback, and with a name that everyone knows. It's Lindsay. There's another one still coming around. It's Drake Lindsay. He's going to play his college football up at Minnesota in the Big Ten. Other than Drake Lindsay, who do we need to know about for this Fayetteville team?
Yeah, well, I think they have a good running back in Setzer. They've got obviously a great receiver in Delamar. I mean, there were points in the season where he was just having an insane game, especially back in the non-conference. And the defenses they face, to be fair, I feel like are a little softer in the 7A West. So this passing game has been able to just continue going with the success that they've had all year and all the way back to last year too. I mean, they had the state's highest rated passing offense in the state a year ago until we faced them. So I think there's a couple things that can happen, right? You could as a Wampus Cat fan, you could be like, well, 2 years ago we went there and that was very traumatic for everybody involved. But then last year we went up there and it was very traumatic for Fayetteville because we blanked them out. Man, I don't know. I personally, where I've landed on this game is all through the season, you kind of knew like there's 4 teams in the 7A that are going to be the 4 to beat. They're all still left in the game. And you kind of felt like, okay, if we don't beat Bryant, we're going to have to go to Fayetteville. But we did that last year. We've got some confidence to go there again. But the last 2 games that we've played defensively, there have been some things exposed on this Conway Wampus Cat defense. And it's one time, okay, but 2 times against a team that wasn't as good as Bryant, and they exposed it too. It's a cause for alarm. So I go into this game more of a coin flip at this point. I mean, I think we can definitely go up there and win, but it's not maybe as I'm not leaning as hard on the Conway side as I thought I would be at this point, just because of things that happened recently. But I still feel good about your Wampus Cats. I think they have a great chance to get to the championship game, but it's never easy to go to Fayetteville and do this. No. And it's not going to be easy this Friday. It's just not.
Yeah, this is a team where I think that given what we've seen the last couple of games defensively, offensively, I've not had any worries all year long. The Fayetteville defense is very fast. I mean, they're not the biggest defense we've faced, They're not Bryant size at all, but they are very, very fast. They are well coached. Casey Dick does a fantastic job with that program, and so they know what's up there. This is one of the first times there have been two others, Bentonville and against Bryant, where I would have said you got to play your most complete game. You got to be great in all phases. You probably are going to have to get a few breaks, and really defensively for us, we have to play very, very well to beat Fayetteville. They're going to score a lot of points, and I think it may come down to, I hate to say this, but it could come down to what we saw against Bentonville West and a little bit about what we saw with Bryant. It could be a track meet, and so if we do that, if it's track meet, I do like us because I think we have different ways of scoring, maybe a little bit more than Fayetteville.
Let's talk about the third phase of a football game, and that's special teams. Obviously, last week, like you mentioned, there were no punts, right? We didn't have to punt the ball one time. Field goals have been very few opportunities there. Extra points, Major's been pretty solid on those for the most part. But there's more to it than that. I get concerned about, well, if we have to punt late in the game and it's a field position game, we haven't had a lot of deep snaps. We haven't had a lot of protection. And so, I don't know, things like that can kind of, when I start worrying, that's what I worry about. Special teams wise, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, and I think that's a valid concern. Although I'll say, I mean, our special teams have been pretty solid all year, really. I mean, we haven't had, like you said, we haven't had to punt a lot. We've only attempted 4 field goals all year, 3 of them in one game. We've made all of them. That's a good thing, but none past 27 yards. Although if you look at that Bryant game, we did have to punt a few times in that game. And I thought Major looked pretty good. The first time, as Tim called out, he outkicked his coverage, and that was not good. But then after that point, he looked really good on his punts. And our kickoff coverage all year has been great. We've blocked a punt. We've blocked a field goal. If it's going to come down to special teams, like if everything is pretty even and you're saying, hey, this third phase is going to win the game for us, then I would lean towards Conway. I feel really good about that.
2 years ago, they did not have a kicker, and I know that if everybody like me remembers that game, it's impossible to forget the fact that they did not have a field goal in over a year, didn't even attempt one, and they made a 42-yarder with a guy that was playing soccer the week before. They don't have that same problem now. They have a very good kicker. He will kick it into the end zone more times than not. He's a very good field goal kicker, so their side of it is pretty good. Their punt team is also very good. They're well coached, but I'm like Levi. I actually like where we are pretty much across the board from a special teams perspective. I love our return game. I think our return game, if you're looking for one break, maybe that's where you get it, is in a punt return or a kickoff return. But I do like our coverage. We got to get a little bit stronger on the kickoff coverage. I don't want them starting at the 40-yard line every time. So if we can pin them back, that'll be better.
All right, guys, thanks. We look forward to kickoff tonight between Conway and Fayetteville. What's at stake? Well, a trip to the state championship game at War Memorial Stadium. We'll have the broadcast for you tonight on Conway Corp Channel 5 and also online at conwaycorp.com/WC2Go.